In our last episode, we climbed to the top of an old volcanic island, and we even survived. This time around, we work our way farther north into the Sea of Cortez, stopping by a couple more pretty amazing anchorages. There goes Isla Coronados right behind us. It's pretty light sailing at the moment. We only got about 5 or 6 knots breeze, and we're doing about 3 knots. But we're moving. And the good news is that there's 5 boats all going north, and they're all sailors. So it's going to be an epic drag race. A light wind, epic drag race that so far we're winning because we left early. That's how we roll. In theory, this breeze is going to fill in, and then we'll have a little bit more to work with. But right now, it's definitely light wind and smooth seas, which is pretty nice. But the other good news is now that we're out of this Laredo National Park preserve area, we can go fishing again. Brenda's going fishing nuts. She's throwing everything we got at it. So hopefully we'll pick up some dinner along the way and see where we end up tonight. We've got a couple of anchorages 15, 20 miles north, depending on how the breeze plays out today. We'll kind of decide along the way. But for now, great sailing, just pretty light.
We haven't been able to fish for miles. It's been protected. So now, we just left the national park zone, so now we can fish. Gonna catch something big. Here, fishy, fishy. Yeah. I'm sure there are fish up here.
Goodness. That's a shark! That, my friends, was about an 8-foot long shark. That was cool. It actually jumped a couple of times right next to the boat, swam off, and then jumped a bunch more. I've never seen anything like it. The things you see out here, it's pretty cool. Alright, let's talk about light wind sailing, because that's what we're doing right now, and I got nothing else going on. It's light wind, we're barely moving. There are 3 big tricks to sailing in light wind. Number 1, the most important, patience. You gotta be patient. Can't be in a rush. Right now we're going 3 knots. Number 2, it's sail trim. Keep an eye on your tails. That's pretty easy. Upwind light sailing, that's actually the easiest hit for me anyways. It's easier than downwind because you got a little apparent breeze. Keeps the boat going a little better. But the third thing, which is kind of really the most important, keeping the boat moving. You want momentum to keep going. On a day like today, there's little bits of gusts, little bits of lulls. So on the gusts, we steer a little higher into the wind. Gives us a little more apparent breeze and a little more speed. On the lulls, we bear off a little bit and keep the momentum going. That's the big thing. This boat's got a racing stripe, which obviously makes us fast, but it's really a heavily overloaded cruising boat that was more designed as a motor sailor, not a great sailor, a motor sailor. So, kind of got to work to get this thing going. But that's okay. I like sailing, and I would much rather go 3 knots than listen to the engine. So that's what we're doing. Nope, we're going 3.5. 3.5 knots. It is a racing boat. After a pretty good day of light wind sailing at its finest, we dropped ourselves out of the race and pulled into Punta Mangles. And right behind us, in came Ken and Sebastian. And since we've never been here before, of course, we had to go to shore to explore. Well, this is Punta Mangles. This was once the site of a spot that was supposed to be a luxury hotel, but now it looks like some squatters live here. Still kind of cool though. But I haven't found any info on what happened to this place. If you know, write it down in the comments, because I'm kind of interested. It looks pretty cool, or it would have been cool. With the right weather, the anchorage at Punta Mangles makes for a pretty interesting stop. And with these old deserted buildings on shore, it not only makes this place a fun bit of exploration, it also makes it feel a little bit creepy. And judging by the looks of this place, it's pretty hard to tell if it was taken out by a big old hurricane, or if it's possibly another one of Mexico's developments that was finished before it really got started. And if those old buildings weren't enough exploration for you, there's plenty of cool stuff to find on shore.
Look at those shells that are going on the boat.
Kind of smiling.
A little bit. I don't think he's very happy though. That's a hammerhead.
The hammered head.
Yeah. Crazy. For us, Punta Mangles turned out to be a pretty great spot to spend the night. And like so many other anchorages in the Sea of Cortez, the scenery wasn't half bad either. But even though we had ourselves a pretty nice night at Punta Mangles, the next morning, some funky swell and chop started rolling into the anchorage. So, we were out of there. Well, there goes Punta Mangles behind us, and it was a pretty nice, easy, comfortable night, but that place is creepy. Something about old deserted buildings in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of straight out of a horror movie. But we came, we saw, we survived, and now we're out. But what a difference a day makes. Yesterday the sea state was flat calm, light wind sailing. Today not so much. Still light wind, but a big, steep chop. Not huge, but 4 to 5 feet. And we've only got about 7 or 8 knots of breeze, which means farther up the sea, there is something going on that's blowing that chop our way. So, we're trying to get to the next anchorage before whatever's driving this chop gets to us. After a few hours of slowly bouncing our way farther up the coast, we made it to San Juanico. And once we got tucked into the corner of our anchorage, it was as calm could be. San Juanico is one of the more popular anchorages in the Sea of Cortez, and it's for good reason. Depending on which way the wind and waves are coming from, there's multiple places to anchor your boat. There's bunches of beaches that can keep you busy for days, and some pretty amazing water that just begs to be swam in. And if all that weren't enough, the the hiking up in the hills, the amazing rock formations, and the rugged coastline that surround this bay, it makes this an easy place to spend some time.
This is the southernmost beach in San Juanico. It's on the southern shore of this big bay. And this beach is one of the most interesting beaches I think I've ever seen. It's not sandy at all, it's all rocky, but it's all sandstone rocks. They're super colorful, whoa, and hard to walk on, but they're really cool.
Ready to keep that? It's gonna smell really good.
And just off of this colorful rocky beach, there's some pretty great snorkeling in what turned out to be some unseasonably cold water.
That was some pretty good snorkeling. Nice shot, Brenda.
The next morning, we were gonna check this place out on foot. 'Cause way over in the southwest corner of the big old bay, there's a patch of green in an otherwise brown and dusty desert. And we just had to see what that was all about.
This is kind of an amazing place. Well, not kind of, it is an amazing place. Out in the middle of nowhere, middle of the desert, all of a sudden it's green, a lagoon. I don't know who put it there, but it's pretty amazing. Beyond the lagoon and all the green, you got these amazing rock formations. I think if this was in the United States, this would be a national park. It may even be here, I don't know. Haven't seen any markings for it, but in the States, this would definitely be a national park because it's spectacular. Tons of cool stuff going on. Last night even, my old friend Ken, he said this is his #1 favorite spot on earth. I don't know how you can argue with that.
With as much room to roam as one could want, and some pretty interesting scenery and rock formations, San Juanico is a place that's hard to beat. And if you've got the gumption to drag yourself up to one of the many little peaks that surround this big old bay, you'll be rewarded with some views that aren't too shabby.
while we were out wandering our way through the desert and up into the hills, good old Sebastian, well, he went out and caught us some fish for dinner, which of course meant it was time for another family feast. And as most people are well aware, sometimes a family feast can just get downright funky. For the last few years, I've been doing my best to find the best fish tacos in the world. And it turns out the search wasn't hard at all. They're right here on the boat on the Rio.
Really good, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing.
The goat fish.
How's that one?
Getting good at the filleting thing.
Yeah, man, it's
Always
awesome.
watch out with the bones, you know. I can always miss a couple, but
Yep, these things were pretty amazing. But even with some amazing fish tacos, sometimes a family dinner gets cut short. 'Cause every fisherman knows when the bite is on, the bite is on.
Yeah. This is like the skipjack.
Oh, jeez, look at that.
Oh my gosh. He's casting so fast. He's gotta have blisters. Oh, look at all these other birds coming in.
Yeah, feeding frenzy.
Sebastian and the birds.
And even with all that action going on, there's a reason it's called fishing and not catching. But that's about it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.